HaKadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with Siman now Resh Mem Tet. We finished yesterday about speaking about doing things or being careful not to be Mechalel Shabbat within the 3 days close to Shabbat. The next Siman Maran brings down that you're not allowed to travel on Erev Shabbat more than 3 parsaot. 3 parsaot are just about almost 12 kilometers. And basically you're not allowed to travel there in order that you should be able to get to your house when it's still very, very early in the day throughout on Erev Shabbat. And you could prepare for Seudat Shabbat, whether you're going with to somebody else's house or you're going, whether it's your own house. So this was in the olden days, because if you think about it, 12 kilometers is nothing, which means that on Erev Shabbat you wouldn't be able even to take a plane whatsoever, because obviously you're traveling much more than 12 kilometers, or even if you're going to be in a car. However, though, all of a sudden nowadays a lot of these things change, because Maran actually brings down that what happens im shalach lehodiam sheolech lesham leshabbat. What happens right now, you send a message to people that you're going to tell them, listen, I'm coming over. So therefore, if you already tell them that you're coming over, they're going to prepare food for you, and therefore you're going to be their guest. And then all of a sudden everything changes. Why? Because then Maran brings down mutar lelech kama parsaot, right? Then you're allowed to go a few parsaot without any problem. The same halacha would apply, is that if you're able to buy food in the destination where you're going to be, so you're allowed to travel more than the 12 kilometers Erev Shabbat, even though you're going to be getting there right on Erev Shabbat, you're allowed to do that. Now, even though we just said you're allowed to travel more than 12 kilometers, and that means that even if it's going to be that after you're traveling after Chatzot, still Rabotenu Acharonim bring down that in a place that means they already know that they're going to prepare for you food, right? Or the other cases as well. But he comes and he says, but still you have to be very, very careful when you're going to be traveling, because you should not travel too close to Shabbat in a form that what's going to happen is that all of a sudden that you might come to Chilul Shabbat. Many times there's always punctures, there's always something that happens right before Shabbat. So a person should be very, very careful that even though there's a heter to travel, as long as you're going to a destination where you could buy food, or you already told them that you're getting there and therefore they're going to prepare food for you, you should still be very, very careful not to travel too close to Shabbat, because then obviously it could come to Chilul Shabbat. And a lot of people, they don't realize this until finally it actually happens, and now all of a sudden they're stuck, and then they're calling the rabbi, right? It's 5 minutes before Shabbat, 10 minutes before Shabbat. What are they allowed to do, not allowed to do? And it becomes much more problematic. So a person should be very, very careful about this halakha. This is the first halakha of the siman that has to do with traveling on Erev Shabbat.